Some teachers at Dilworth Glendon Felton School are headed back out this morning to protest the lack of progress in labor negotiations. Several teachers were out in front of the elementary and high schools yesterday before the bells rang. They're at impasse with the school board over salary issues. We reached out to DGF district officials for a comment, but have not yet heard back.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for waking up with us on this Friday morning. I'm Jordan Schreier here with Lisa Bedeau, and we're just getting started with your news and weather to the top of the hour to help you plan your day. An autopsy is being performed to determine the cause of death of a person whose body was found in South Fargo. Police know who it is and plan to release the name later today after all relatives are notified. The body was found yesterday afternoon near the river in the 3100 block of South University Drive. That's the area behind Villa Maria Nursing Home and the YWCA shelter. Police say there's no indication that the person's death is suspicious. Fargo, West Fargo, and Cass County are teaming up to take on the Red River this spring. Leaders signed a spring flood emergency declaration yesterday and set a date for Sandbag Central operations. It will open March 10th and run through Friday the 13th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're looking for about 200 people to fill bags per hour, with a goal of 400,000 sandbags. You can sign up through a link at valleynewslive.com. Just click on the hot button. Now, the National Weather Service's updated flood outlook is showing the risk of spring flooding along the Red is reduced slightly because of melting and limited precipitation in the last few weeks. But there is still a 50% chance it will hit 34.8 feet. At that level, the First Avenue North Bridge between Moorhead and Fargo would close. Fargo is preparing to protect against a 39-foot flood, and you can find the full flood outlook under the related links section of this story, and we have that on the VNL app. The city of Moorhead is also inviting people to its flood information meeting next month. It's on Thursday, March 12th at 6 p.m. in the Yumcomb Center. You can also check out the city website for information on preparing for a flood and an updated flood mapping tool. And they did say the risk is slightly reduced because of a drier than normal February. And Lisa, what are we looking at for our snowfall totals?
Well, we're not quite done with the month yet. We have, of course, leap day tomorrow, the 29th, but this is pretty much a wrap up of our monthly snowfall for February. Of course, didn't really see anything yesterday, just a couple of flakes. But here's a look at your monthly totals for Fargo. We were only an inch and 1.4 inches here, so about an inch and a half of snow. Average is 6.7, so way below normal for this month. However, for the season here, we've got a lot of snow. We're running at 44 inches, and that is still way above average. Our average at this point in the season, 37.7, so still well above average. There's still a lot of snow and water out there in that snowpack. And we're adding just a tiny amount to it today in parts of the valley. Out to the west, we have a couple of areas of light snow over in Devil's Lake, and then stretching down into eastern parts of Eddy and Foster counties here this morning, and just now trying to work its way into Griggs County and the Valley City Barnes County area, maybe seeing a few flakes here ramping up. On top of that, there's some fog, and that's going to reduce your visibility on the road. So basically, if you're in the east, things are looking pretty quiet but cold for us. But traveling westward, we're looking at visibility drops down to 2 miles in places like Oaks and Jamestown and beyond over into Bismarck, a quarter-mile visibility there. So patchy dense fog in central parts of North Dakota here this morning. I mentioned the cold in the east. We're down to 12 below in Badette, so quite chilly once again in northwest Minnesota, where we've been clear all night. Out to the west, we're more into the upper teens. Fargo's at 11. It's 9 in Grand Forks. Here's a look at your hourly planner. First of all, looking outside, you can see that cloud right overhead here in Fargo. That's helped to insulate us a little bit, but as we're looking off to the east, you can see that sunrise starting up for us, and we'll have a mix of some clouds and some sunshine today, especially if you're along the Red River and east from there. You'll more likely see the sun, more likely to deal with the clouds out west. For Fargo, a high of 25 degrees as we're starting to warm things up. And especially tonight, we'll see that south wind kick in, and that will bring our temperatures up overnight, teens and 20s to start the day Saturday. And this weekend looking great, upper 30s, maybe even nearing 40 in a couple of spots, staying dry, perhaps a few more clouds, but all in all looking pretty good as we're working our way into March. And now for a look at traffic, here's Devin Fry with the Valley Today's Traffic on the Move.
Thank you, Lisa. It's time to finish up this hour. We're going to do so on I-94. We're heading east toward Minnesota. Now, you can see that the lanes are starting to get a little bit busier. Everywhere has been really light no matter where we've been this morning, but things are just now starting to load up a little bit. You can see over in the westbound lanes that even though it is a little bit more crowded, there's still plenty of room between the vehicles and things are moving smoothly. So overall, pretty ideal conditions today, and that extends to the roadways. The roadways aren't quite as slick as what we've seen at some points in the past. Now, there are, of course, still some slick spots to watch out for, but that's to be expected pretty much any day. So it's as close to perfect as we're going to be getting in late February. So good news there. The only thing that might be messing with traffic flow a little bit on 25th Street, one of those northbound lanes right by the I-94 exit is still going to be closed. They have that shut down and through the day on Monday. So that area is still going to be funneled down into one lane of traffic. That's going to be an area to watch out for, but otherwise, like I said, things have been moving smoothly. We're going to keep checking out the roadways in the next hour in the Fargo CW, but for now, for your traffic on the move, I'm Devin Fry.
The director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research at the University of Minnesota is predicting we'll see the widespread transmission of the coronavirus in the United States in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Dr. Michael Osterholm says it's already occurring as early transmission now, but it's being missed because of the inability to test.
Minnesota health officials are investigating a possible case of the coronavirus in the state. They're awaiting test results from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. A house explosion and fire in Valley City sent 4 people to the hospital and destroyed the home.
It happened around 9 Wednesday night. The Valley City Fire Chief says none of the injuries are life-threatening. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum says he supports Kirsten Baszler's plan to get help after her DUI arrest this week. The state superintendent of public instruction was stopped Wednesday night by state troopers in Mandan. Authorities say she refused blood and breath tests, but troopers could smell alcohol on her. Baszler released a statement yesterday admitting to what she calls a serious mistake and apologizing to her coworkers and her family. She says that she is going to seek help and focus on her well-being and health. Baszler was first elected in 2012 and re-elected in 2016. She has plans to seek another term in 2020.
The city of Moorhead is using a new $50,000 grant to fight the emerald ash borer. It's an invasive beetle that kills ash trees. Moorhead's grant from the DNR will pay for removal of ash trees on public boulevards and the replanting of a more diverse species mix. The city says nearly 30% of trees in Moorhead are ash trees. Now, the bug isn't here yet, but it has been advancing along the I-94 corridor. It has also been confirmed in Sauk Center, Minnesota. Moorhead is also developing a long-term management plan to prepare for the arrival of the emerald ash borer.
For the next 3 days, the Fargo Dome is going to be packed for the 59th annual Home and Garden Show.
The Valley Today's Abby Furchner is live from the Dome this morning, getting a look at what we will find this weekend. Good morning, Abby.
Good morning, Jordan and Lisa. It is no better time to start thinking about spring, and with spring comes grilling. So that's perfect timing. The Home and Garden Show is going to be 3 days this weekend, but I'm here with Spencer Wirt with NDSU Barbecue Boot Camp. And when it comes to grilling, you're going to be talking about, getting that perfect cut of meat that you can slap on there.
Yeah, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the show, we're going to have a little grill selection, cut selection, how to create your own rubs. So I thought this morning we'd do a little a teaser of what we're going to be doing for the show. And what I brought with me this morning is, first off, this big fancy grill, which we'll talk about later. But second off is 3 different cuts of beef, right? They're kind of all 3 different in a different eating experience because their tenderness is different. And then also they're 3 different, completely different price products, which is 2 huge buying factors for consumers. So between that and seasoning, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about over the next 3 days for the Home and Garden Show.
Which actually is really important too, because you want, the best flavor that you can get when you're grilling.
Right, and consumers, that's what we hear. The biggest factors are price, is the eating experience that they're going to have, and to know the eating experience before you buy it, I think, is key whenever you're purchasing meat, and we try to showcase that in all of our shows. So.
Absolutely. And so, what 3 cuts do you have this morning?
So on the right is a New York strip.
Oh, yum.
Tenderloin, kind of the filet mignon, right, the most tender cut. And then lastly, a flat iron, kind of a unique cut that not many people know about, but it is gaining popularity. It's my favorite beef steak out of a whole animal. And it's also the cheapest that we have on this table, so it's the most bang for your buck is what I like to call it.
That's perfect. And so you're definitely going to want to come out, get yourself ready for spring and ready for grilling. But you're going to want to come out today. It starts at 3 o'clock and goes until 9, so plenty of opportunity. Free parking on Friday as well. And tickets are only $7, and 17 and under is free. So there's a lot of stuff kids can do while the parents are searching for, their perfect cut of meat or some seasoning. So come out to the Home and Garden Show, but we'll have all this information up on valleynewslive.com as well.
Those NDSU meat science people are my favorite people in this entire town. They always know what they're talking about.
They know their stuff. Yes, they do. Thank you, Abby. People came through in a big way for Make-A-Wish's Wishes in Flight fundraiser. As of 10:30 last night, more than 461,000 airline miles had been donated to help grant kids their wishes.
Make-A-Wish North Dakota says that'll be a big help because their travel can be very costly. Let's get that answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. The question, 20% of homes have this that doesn't work, and we don't really care to fix it.
The answer is the doorbell, because you can just knock. It doesn't matter. Finally, Friday. Let's ring the door. What are you laughing at me?
I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but we have some snow knocking on the door for some folks.
We do. A couple of flakes out west. There are some pockets of fog out there to watch out for, too, but a great weekend ahead.
Who needs the doorbell? Just knock.
Just knock.